So let's continue Hilchais Bayrer. Hilchais Bayrer, we learned the basic conditions. We learned a little bit about Miyad. I would like to continue with discussing some of the very Negea Shailos with Miyad. Miyad, we said the one condition of the Bayrer is that everything has to be done in immediate proximity to when you're going to eat it. It's one of the three conditions. It's with your hand, immediate proximity, and good for bad. So in immediate proximity, that means is that we said the examples, if you have a whole pile of cutlery, you cannot set the table on Friday night for Shabbos day. Why not? Because you're selecting the cutlery into forks, knives, and spoons as you set the table, and you're doing it Friday night for Shabbos day. It's a violation of Bayrer. Why? Because it's not called a miyad. You're not going to use it immediately. Very clear? Very clear. Another simple case of a violation of miyad, and then we'll maybe say how you could get around it, is going to be anytime you're going to be peeling vegetables and fruits. You want to peel an orange, you want to cut a melon and take out the seeds. First of all, we have to ask a question. Why am I allowed to peel an orange? Every time I peel an orange, what am I doing? I'm taking the bad from the good. I'm taking the peel off. So why are you allowed to peel an orange on Shabbos? So there's nothing to do with peelers. Maybe we'll get there if we could move fast enough. But why are we allowed to peel an orange on Shabbos? Why are you allowed to peel a banana on Shabbos? What are you doing? You're taking the bad from the good. That's a violation of Bayr. So we all know that, of course, we peel fruit on Shabbos. Why is it allowed? So what's the answer? The answer in the Lashon of the Mishnah Berurah is or basically, to boil it down, is this is called eating. Fundamental shayla is that why is taking the bad from good bayrer? Because taking the bad from the good is not called eating. It's called bayrer. It's called separating. But when you do fruit, when you do vegetables, when you peel off the outside, that's called an eating process. Because the way to get to the banana is to peel it off. And now you understand, you say, what do you mean? I can get to the banana another way, slice the banana in half, and scoop out the inside. Maybe you'd have to do that on Shabbos. So if you learned the word that it's impossible to get to it, cut the orange in half and scoop it out the inside. That's not the lumdus. Lumdus is that it's an eating process. The synthesis is the way that you eat when you peel, it is allowed. However, it's only allowed, says the what? We'll get there in a moment. It's only allowed, says the Mishnah Berurah, miyad, right before you eat it. We allow you, and it makes a lot of sense in the lumdus. Way we just explained it is because why you're coming to eat. So it's only if you're coming to eat. But if you're going to peel Friday night, you're going to peel your clementinas for Shabbos afternoon. That's not called eating. That's called bayr. So the detail that we have to know about peeling, and this is a bit of an unknown detail of peeling. It's not the biggest calamity because usually when you peel something, you do it before you can eat. Usually, what? Peeling hard-boiled egg. That is the example. I totally forgot about that one. That's an example. Beautiful. You're peeling a hard-boiled egg. Why are you allowed to peel a hard-boiled egg? That's a shell.
You do a kunanya?
What's I saying? That's a shell. How are you allowed to do that? So says the place, you're allowed to for miyad. Asks the obvious kasha. But what do you mean? We all know when we peel eggs, no one likes peeling eggs. When you peel, you just peel. And you're just done with all of them. And you peel for shal shadis. That is forbidden.
What?
Now, if you're going to peel, you need 3 eggs for Shabbos day and 3 eggs for shal shadis. You're not allowed to peel 6 eggs Shabbos day. Now, can you go and peel all 6, make one big egg salad? So the answer to that question is, if you're going to serve the whole egg salad, and then you're going to take a risk, you're going to roll the dice, maybe all the egg salad will be consumed, then it'll be allowed. Says the Ben Ish Chai, why? Because you want to serve berachas. No one likes, because you could ask, why didn't you have 3 eggs for the Shabbos day meal? We know you only really need 2, right? That 3rd egg, right? Everyone said yesterday, the meal's only complete when there's some leftovers. So why are you allowed to do that? Why are you allowed to have leftovers? So explains the Ben Ish Chai amongst other poskim, because that's the way to serve. When you're serving on Shabbos, you're serving berachos. It makes it a nice platter. So if you're going to serve all 6 eggs, and therefore maybe someone will eat that, but if you're going to serve all 6 eggs, and then half the plate is, you bring it back to the kitchen, that's going to be forbidden. Because peeling is only allowed in proximity to eating. One second, before questions, let's just follow this through. So we're just going to focus straight on the peeling. So your oranges, your apples, your bananas, your eggs, your watermelon.
Some people eat it with a peel, some cut it.
If you're peeling it, you cut your watermelon, you cut off the peel, and now that's another very good example, because often when you cut watermelon and you cut out the inside, do you cut out the inside just for now? No, you cut the whole watermelon, you put half in the fridge, and you serve half of it at the table. that's a problem. But watermelon would be a very good example. Often, you serve the whole watermelon. You put one big bowl of sliced up watermelon, and whoever eats, whoever's not eating, that would be allowed. Again, the watermelon you slice it in half, and then you're cutting it out. So first of all, there's multiple ways of doing it. Sometimes some people cut it. Some people cut off the peel from the shell. Some people cut off the peel from the shell. Some people cut off the rind from the fruit. Cut off the rind from the fruit. But either way,
if it's like this, you could just slice it and take out.
But that's only for miyad. Only for miyad. Only for miyad. It's still the parsha of Boyer. That's the pashas. Melon is a very good example. How do you cut melon? You cut the melon, you scoop out the seeds in the center. How you got to scoop out the seeds in the center? Happens to be there are places that are machmer, but the pashtus is because that is the way that you are eating. So you're allowed to scoop out the seeds from the center. Avocado, very good example. There are some places that say, no, what do you mean cut off the fruit from the avocado? Cut it, take it in half, and then scoop out the fruit. The pashtus is because the normal way of eating it is going to be to take off the shell. You're allowed to take off the shell. So we're learning a chiddush here. The chiddush that we're learning is that peeling is allowed, even though it's bad from good. But there's a caveat. It's only for miyad. It's only for immediate usages. It's not for later. So now come along the poskim they discussed that in that modern day we have man-made peels. What's a man-made peel?
Wrappers.
Says Rosh Zalman, are you going to open a candy for later? Says Rosh Zalman, I'm very nervous. You're opening a candy? That candy is a wrapper. It's a peel. And you can't open that for later.
It's a mixture?
Oh, it's other places that come along and say Rosh Zalman. And an orange peel, we versteh. It's an orange and a peel. It's one entity. And you're taking off the peel. But the wrapper of a candy, fine. But let's continue. What about salami?
Oh wait, so it's fine?
So, there are many mekilim. Again, we're only discussing for non-miyad. If it's for immediate usages, it's going to be allowed. So for non-immediate usages, comes along others and they say, what about salami? So now it gets a little more scary, right? Salami, it's man-made, but it's mamish attached. And I'll make it worse. Nowadays, we're all eating the dried salami. So dried salami, and mamish gets into the salami. So there are poskim.
Why just because it's man-made would it be different than an orange?
Oh, because you could explain that the whole lumdis, why the orange is a problem and is allowed, is because it's one entity, and now you're moving the bad from the good. But if I go, if I have two items like this, are we going to say, I just took off the shell? Two items. I just took off the shell, and if I'm not using it to use the sefer now, it's forbidden.
We say, but
so it depends on how you're going to look at it. So many places are going to say, a candy is a perfect example. The candy with the wrapper, a bag of chips. You're going to say the bag of chips. This gets crazy. This gets wild. You're going to say the bag of chips is the wrapper for the chips. If you can only open the bag of chips to eat right now, not for later. There are some places that are nervous about this. We're playing with the races, Rabbi said. We learn those needs all day. We always say to Rabban, playing with the races. So we're just going to conclude when it comes to salami, Lamaisha, there is a Ramosha that's machmer. Ramosha discusses it. The niyar on the naknik, the niyar on the salami on the atos. However, the Sefer HaShabbos quotes from, I think it's Shmuel Arbach, and he says it's a man-made item, it's two entities, and there's makom to be mako. I will mention, perhaps a dried salami is more scary. Because even though it's all for not miyad, very good. We'll do it's getting late. We'll do a quick wrap up in a moment. But you're all for a dried salami, even though it is man-made. But the fact that it sort of fuses in, it gets a little bit more scary. It looks a little bit more like an orange, even though we made it. But it sort of looks away. So the quick review of the peels that we're learning today is you're allowed to peel, even though it's bad from good. We didn't discuss peelers, maybe tomorrow. Even though it's bad from good. However, it has to only be for miyad, only for now. And we have to keep in mind there are many times that when we peel, the natural thing to do is to peel for later. And that would be forbidden on Shabbos, unless you plan on serving everything, and if it's eaten good. If it's not eaten, not good. And this applies to all fruits, peels, vegetables. When it comes to man-made items, we'll say yesh makom lahakel on kemat most of the items. When it comes to certain things, it gets a little bit more scary, and we'll leave it at that. But it's only for non-miyad. If it's for miyad, it's going to be allowed. When it comes to nuts, shelling nuts, it's a little bit of a different conversation. Why it's a little bit of a different conversation, we don't have time to discuss right now, and we'll stop right there.